Yo, did you hear about that government that are jerks? I know what you're thinking. Canada, eh? Well, let's start off with some examples here about the kind of cuts that are so important for us to be making. What do we got here? What do we got? Let's start off with some women's advocacy. Okay, budget was cut by 43%. They closed down 12 out of 16 of the women's status offices throughout the, status of women offices throughout the country. Let's see here. We've got Africa. I don't know how to draw, and my geography is also terrible. So we've got Africa, and we've got cutting the budget in half. All right, that's our foreign aid to Africa has been cut in half under Harper. Okay. How's the jerks? Let's see. Our Aboriginal communities, okay? Many of our Aboriginal communities don't have access to clean drinking water, okay? This is a big deal. This is in Canada. We have people without access to clean drinking water. I'm just going to let that sink in. It's not a small deal, okay? So, the good news is Harper's been in power. He's ready to. Well, like, when are we going to deal with this problem? We're just going to keep waiting. We'll keep waiting. Okay, not a big deal. Just people without clean drinking water. Oh, but what kind of people? First Nations people? You know what? Wait for it. Okay, what else have we got? Speaking of clean drinking water, this is a big deal. We've got the UN setting up a declaration that clean drinking water is a human right. Come one, come all. This is a pretty easy one to ethically get on board with, right? Let's come and sign it. No, Harper refuses to. So now Canada is one of the most evil-sounding countries around. Do you realize how many millions of children aged 5 and under die every year from unclean drinking water? You know, like it's as simple as getting diarrhea from that kind of thing in a third world country, or apparently in Canada, and you know, it can kill you, and it kills millions. And you know, how is that not a giant atrocity? I think it's one of the greatest ethical failures of, you know, this time period, that we don't look at a problem like this where we have vast numbers dying. I mean, this is, you know, if there was a country committing this number of murders, we could easily look at that, you know, hundreds of thousands dying per day. We would have to go to war with that, even though it would cost us a lot of money to go to war. Now, with clean drinking water, it's a lot less expensive than war to fix that problem, and yet we stand by idly and have politicians go out of their way to stop it from moving forward, this movement of simply saving children's lives. I don't know. It's appalling. It's appalling to me. Okay, sorry. So, what do we got? We've got some clean drinking water, definitely not a human right. That, to me, is a valuable resource, good for selling. Love me some of that cash obla. That's what Canada stands for. Making money, letting people die. Making money, letting people die. It's a brilliant plan. So what else have we got? Okay, so speaking of our First Nations people here in Canada, you know, we had this Kelowna agreement that was, you know, this breakthrough agreement for about $5 billion. It was dedicated to the health and education of the First Nations people in Canada. And 2006, Harper gets in office, boom, cancels it. Is this okay? Like, it boggles the mind that we have minority groups, you know, in a fully developed country that, you know, have these beyond subpar living conditions, and politicians sit idly by and they don't care. Like, is it a race thing? Is it like historically we feel like European settler descendants feel like, like, oh, we've taken over, but we're not done yet, not enough conquering, or is it simply an ignorance of that history that allows for the racism to occur? I don't know what the problem is exactly, but I can see this outcome, and it's also very upsetting, and I think validates the term jerk. And I want to end on just mentioning the missing woman. Speaking of Aboriginals, once again, of Aboriginal people, sorry. To have 500, 800, 1,000, 1,500, to have this giant number of women missing. I mean, if these were white women, every news story every night would be like, what's all going on? What are we doing? How are we fixing this? Every politician would be like, I don't know, we're working on it. Like, we've got hotlines set up. No, what hotlines have we set up? Oh, we've got the terrorist hotlines up, but nothing about this. Well, Harper said this is not a priority. Of course, now we've gotten closer to the election, and by sheer coincidence, his heart has grown warmer. And now we get to see him saying things like, it is long overdue. Well, I agree with you, Harper. Didn't think I'd say that, but I agree. It is long overdue because of you saying it is not a priority. Well, if the Conservatives wind up in power again, I really hope they follow through on their new sentiment about valuing Aboriginal life. Okay, so now what? Well, election's coming up really soon. October 19th is very soon. I say we vote strategically. I'm not a huge fan of any of the major players. I don't think anybody's a hero. I think there's a lot of career politicians. But in this kind of situation, I say we vote for the lesser of the evils because they're far less evil. And yeah, I say let's vote strategically and get somebody in power that represents a more compassionate Canada.